Good evening, folks, and welcome back to a very special episode of South the Cheddar Curtain. As always, it's your boy Devin Hine, sitting across the Skype screen, sitting across a county or two from Mr. Lucas Mueller. You want to say hi to the folks, Luke?
Hello, folks.
So, over the years, Luke and I have not always been as, upkeeping with our schedule of an episode a week as we would like. Now Luke and I live an hour away, so we figured, hey man, some days it's just not going to work for me to be drive all the way out to Luke's place. So we got to figure out a way to work remote. Luke, with the kindness of his heart, bought me a microphone, and we've been spending the last 50 minutes on Skype trying to get this to work. But here we are. So bear with us if it might be a little technically rough. But here we are, and we're back to break down, unfortunately, a Packers L.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Now it is kind of nice that we're kind of in the big show here, right? This is how a lot of big podcasts do it. So they probably have producers and engineers that set everything up for them, but that's okay. We're here, and we're ready to talk about a very, very weird game.
Yeah, instead we have me MacGyvering taping what's the term, Luke, for this little thing about
the pop filter.
The pop filter, yeah. The pop filter is currently very daintily taped to the end of the microphone. So if we hear a loud bang during the show, that's what it is. But yeah, back to the point of the show, not just making fun of my ineptitude. Fair to say our Green Bay Packers came out and shit the bed in the first half. This game was pretty much the tale of two halves. I know it's an old trope, but our boys really fit the bill there, going down 28-0 in what seemed like the blink of an eye.
Yeah, that was it was one of the worst starts to a game I can ever remember. Right? It felt like I looked up after watching the game for like 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, it's over. I mean, like, we're done. We got nothing left, right? It felt like one of those games where just everything possible is going to go against you, and it did. And there's kind of two ways to move on from that, right? And thankfully, we chose the less likely of the two and keep on fighting.
Yeah, one of my favorite expressions is, do not go quietly into the night, and we definitely did not. I wish that we wouldn't have been quiet in the morning and afternoon and evening of this, metaphorical day.
Even if we would have just been kind of quiet at any point in time, we probably win this game, right? I mean, the amount of things that went wrong for us and still only lose by 2 points. I mean, it felt terrible in the moment, right? And super frustrating. And there's a lot of stuff that we need to clean up. And there's a lot of things that went poorly and or even some trends that we've seen from the first couple of weeks of the season. At the end of the day, man, like literally anything goes right for us in the first three quarters, and we win the game.
Yeah, amen. So let's kind of leading with that trend for I think and I know. My first I know is that I know that I've never seen us self-implode that bad. Like in the first half of a game, I mean, from the Narvison missed kicks to two interceptions that went off of Packer receivers, to Isaiah McDuffie's dropped interception, to more numerous offensive line penalties that push us back into third and long. Jordan Love air mailing a ball. See, it's been so long that we've had to say that my mouth can't even, remember how to make those words.
Can't even make the words out.
It was just really baffling to see it on every phase. I mean, except for Xavier, but I mean, he doesn't even count, man. Like he's just an automatic. I've told you.
Him and Daniel Whalen, man.
League record. Yeah, him and Daniel Whalen are money. And everyone else,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's so weird, right? I mean, we'll talk more about it, but like the second interception, right? Bounced off the hands of two different Packers. Like, what are the odds? 0.
Have you ever seen that in your life as a fan? Ever?
Not like that, no. Not like that. We got the Wicks, could have been touchdown that just like somehow bounced off his chest, right? We had the dropped McStuffie interception on the first drive of the game that could have changed a lot of stuff, right? All of the catches / not catches / kind of catches that all were deemed no catches, but then we get the interception, which definitely wasn't a catch. I mean, I'm all for X getting one every single game, so I'm fine with it. Not going to complain. But like that was the sketchiest of the 4 reviewed catches by far. So just weird stuff, man. Just weird stuff from start to back. Every phase of the game, besides the punter and our safeties, everybody struggled at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe not Jaden Reed. I don't really see much doubt out of him. I mean, he's Mr. Consistent, Naperville zone. I'll give
Yeah,
you a
no,
little
he
shout out there.
he had a really really good game. He had a really good game, but he was by far. I mean, Dontavian Wicks looks like he had a good game, but not so much.
So I know, the Matt LaFleur is full of shit, and we have a kicking problem, and we need to get this figured out like now. Because like last year or 2 years ago, I could say on the show when Mason had his issues and when Daniel Carlson had his issues, like, hey man, like we might be able to get by it, but that'll lose us games in January. And oh, by the way, it did against San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I know there was a lot of other things that happened in this game, right? But Narveson missing 2 chip shot field goals. Like, I'm sorry, if it's not windy, if the weather, isn't raining or snowing, cats and dogs, and you're under 50, son, you need to make those kicks. Like, buddy, are you kidding me? Like, I wish I would go back and look at his numbers from the preseason in Tennessee, but like, are we sure that he was better than one of the 3 guys that we had? And why have we not been bringing in people from the street? I know there's not a lot of great options there, but for the love of God, like, give someone a tryout. We cannot keep going with this guy. I mean, for the meantime, sure, you keep him in because you have nobody else, but like, we cannot not be giving other people looks. Not with how talented this team is, not with, I would say, the added pressure from Jordan Love's mega contract that, like, hey, we're in a window now. All these young, talented receivers and defensive backs, when their contracts are going to be up, we're going to lose a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
so
we're going to have problems.
Make something happen now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, and I think I think it was going to be. I think we keep Narv Dog at least another week. Like during the game, right? We were texting with our good friend JP, and yeah, we were all like, just cut him. Like, don't make him walk home at this point, right? 37 yards, doinked it off the upright. Can't happen, right? Can't
We're
happen.
not the Bears. We
Right.
are not the Bears.
From after the double doink, when they brought in like 9 different kickers, it feels like that's where we're at right now. We just don't really have a direction to go. I had hope in Narv Dog kind of coming into the season, but he's missed at least 1 kick every single game, which is not acceptable, especially when they're short. He hasn't kicked one over 50 yet. It's not like he's missing a bunch of these bombs where you're like, okay, well, it was a 50-50 shot anyways. No, 37 is automatic, especially in this day and age with the level of kickers we have. But you're also right. There's not a lot out there at this point. Greg Joseph, right? We cut him.
Is he a free agent? I thought he was somewhere.
He's on the Giants. He's perfect so far. 5 for 5.
Rick Bisaccia, buddy. You're supposed to be Mr. Special Teams Guru, and we're still seeing snafus all across the board there.
Yeah, don't love what we're seeing there. Yeah, just really, really tough, and it's going to continue to cost us.
Offense we go.
To offense.
I just wanted to give a little shout out to one of my coworkers, Michael May, who supports the show, and he came up to me and he said, Devin, so Packers 2-0 under Malik, 0-2 under Jordan Love. We got a little quarterback controversy brewing.
Oh, my God. I got some of those texts from work, too.
Yeah, right. There were definitely some calls from people to put him Malik. I think I said it in the joke kiddingly. I'm hoping you know that with my delusions I was kidding when I said that. But Jordan just didn't look right for the first half of that game. I kind of anticipated, unfortunately, that he might be a little rusty, especially going against one of the top defenses in the NFL with all their exotic pressures. You could tell he got a little bit of happy feet. He did not look comfortable. Just him missing on some of those throws, it felt like earlier season Jordan Love. And then once he got in the second half and settled down, like you saw him hitting those shots, you saw him get a swagger back.
Yeah, as the game went, Jordan went to a certain degree, right? Like, we moved the ball plenty, even in the first half, but he did not look comfortable throwing really with his complete motion and fully planting on that front leg until much later in the game. That automatically will lead to a lot of those misses, and some of them more inaccurate than others, right? Even some of the catches weren't necessarily in a great position for yards after catch, given where they were within the receiver's frame. He also wasn't getting a lot of help from receivers. We could talk about that a little bit more. But as the game went on, he really started to seem more comfortable. And I was really curious what that mobility was going to look like coming into the game. And he didn't look as nimble as normal. I would say he was definitely hesitant early on, especially to avoid pressure and to get out and scramble a little bit. Because there's some times where it felt like he didn't think he could move out of the pocket, where he just kind of like sat there until the last second and just kind of chucked the ball a little bit, which you don't love to see. But as the game went on, started to trust his legs a little bit more. He scrambled once or twice. Did not have the burst that he normally does. Look, he's not Lamar Jackson anyways, right? But, or Malik.
Whoa. I know, but like, remember that whole bet about him having a 35-yard rush and then he did it the next week? So
I do.
Get my quarterback's running game out of your mouth.
I'm just saying he's not Lamar Jackson or Malik when it comes to acceleration and burst, right? And he got tracked down from behind by a defensive lineman. But he was comfortable enough and he didn't look awkward or anything when he was running. So I think it was mostly rust and just trusting his body, right? And when you're out with injury, that can take some time, right? Even if the knee is fine structurally, right? It's still a confidence thing with how much are you really planting and putting torque on that front knee when you're throwing. And in practice, you're not throwing as often as we were in this game. That's for sure, unfortunately, given kind of the stat line he ended up with. But 54 passes, by the way, which is wild.
I was going to jump in there for the folks at home.
Yeah,
Good job.
just 32 from 54 for 389 yards. Our boy, 4 tutties, 3 picks, only 1 sack, so that's pretty good. But
hey, I'm sure you saw it on like Instagram and everywhere. Just all the memes about, Jordan has a real classy act and wears a 4 for Brett Favre, who just got diagnosed with Parkinson's. Prayers, thoughts, whatever you want to send to Brett. I mean, he's a Packer, so he's part of the family, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love having a pretty Favre-like game with a couple. I mean, just the one pick to Wicks was like a Favre throw, just arm punt. We'll see if he gets it. If not, whatever. But the 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, and north of 300, like.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Brett in his heyday.
That absolutely was, and honestly, was kind of fun to watch as he kind of started getting rolling. But I think a lot of what we saw is going to go away this week.
Yeah, man. It just kind of felt to me this way. So the first half, right, was super depressing, but it almost again felt to me like the Eagles game, where like, yeah, we lost. We had a lot of self-inflicted wounds, but again, Jordan just didn't look right, and I don't think that's anything from within himself. I think it's, like you said, coming back from the MCL, learning to trust it more, and that will be coming back in time. I think we're going to be playing a pretty banged-up Rams team this coming week, which should be a nice get-right game for us. Hopefully not a trap game, but just a team like that is banged up, especially on offense. We should be getting the ball back pretty quick. Hopefully the boys on defense figure their stuff out a little bit more too. But I anticipate Jordan to be playing much better. I'm also hoping that we do not go down 28-0 to the Rams, because a big part of this game was that, Jordan's first game back, good game plan would be, I'm not saying, give a Malik Willis quarterback ratio.
No, but let's lean on the run a little bit.
But yeah, Josh Jacobs, 9 for 51. Did have 4 catches for 27, but he continues to look like a stud. I mean, he's not going down with the first guy, trying to tackle him, still showing that wiggle and that pop. Emmanuel Wilson did fine as well, 8 for 27, but we just could not get the running game going consistently.
We didn't have a chance.
When you go down 28-0 in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, it very, very quickly, right? I think, if I remember right, it was Andy Herman brought up that we got the ball, our 14th play, we were already down 21-0. Our 14th offensive play.
That's insane.
Correct. So, like, at that point, like, the game plan's out the window. You're already behind. You're already like, okay, I guess we're in shotgun all day now, because it's your only choice to try to get back into it. Puts you in a really bad spot. It does not put you in the spot you want to be with a quarterback coming off injury. 100%.
All right, to the skill positions we go. So we can say a little bon voyage to Christian Watson. See you later, brother.
Man, that was a hospital ball that Jordan threw. So that was extra unfortunate.
Yeah, I took a solid 5 minutes explaining to Molly what that meant. She's like, hospital ball, and I was like,
that means
you're gonna get killed.
Yeah,
like, call the ambulance when Jordan releases that. Get that 911 on speed dial.
Correct, because that dude's gonna get hurt. Now, thankfully, it doesn't seem to be a knee. It's a high ankle sprain, which is not fun to deal with. Been there, done that 3 times in my life.
Oh, that's right. Luke Mueller, the fullback and ankle expert of our show. Thank you, sir.
Correct. Of course, of course. Um, so not a fun injury to deal with, but much better than anything that ends in CL, which I was afraid of, especially the way he got bent back, and he immediately started reaching for his knee. Thankfully, everything's come out. Ankle, it's an ankle injury is anywhere from like 2 to 6 weeks generally, somewhere in that
just
range.
Depends.
Kind of depends on the grade, and high ankle sprains are worse than the normal ankle sprains, but depends on the grade and kind of the severity of it. But man, that's a throw you can't make, and I've seen some people kind of talk about, was it a not great route from Watson? Maybe, but like, man, you hate to see that, and you hate to see that with Jordan coming back when you think we're about to fully utilize Watson a little bit more. Because with Malik, like the wide receiver group is not going to be used to their potential, right? Especially Watson. Because you're probably not going to throw a ton of bombs, realistically. But with Jordan back, you're kind of like, okay, now we can start opening the offense up a little bit, working all those receivers back in, and then immediately Watson goes down, which leaves a lot of snaps for one of our favorite guys who did not have a great game. But really, really sucks to see.
Yeah, that the pass to Watson, man, I don't think it was necessarily a bad route by Watson. I mean, it was a deep end, which has been money for us.
Mm-hmm.
Since like the Love Renaissance halfway through last season, like that's been a play that we've been hitting pretty consistently, usually to Romeo, not to Watson. So I agree. It was nice to see the little expanded route tee for Christian Watson. Not the best decision of Jordan Love's career. Unfortunately, Christian Watson had to pay the price, but we'll be looking forward to having him back. You did touch on Mr. Dontavian Wicks, who continues to be drop city. He had 2 in this game, Lucas?
Yeah, I believe so. He the stat line looks great, right? 5 catches, 78 yards, 2 tutties. Okay, looks good, right? Until you look at the targets. 13 targets, 5 catches. That's no bueno.
And two turnovers. I think that you need to include that when you're looking at these wide receiver stats, in addition to targets, interceptions their way, because I mean, one of them went right off his hands, the other one went right off his chest, and then, not gonna lie, dude, Dontavian has grown on me a lot, and he's much more of a you guy than a me guy.
I love that dude.
I think it was when he scored both touchdowns, especially the first one, and then we went down. Then we were down 14-28, and it's just a little. It's like him and I think Crafter and Musgrave at the bottom of the screen. It's man coverage, and the secondary doesn't pass off well, so Wicks just breaks in on a slant, essentially, or an in, and he's wide open. And then he catches the ball and he's talking shit. I'm like, Dontavian, bro, one of those. The pick was already to you, my guy. Okay, I'm happy we scored, but don't say anything the rest of the game. Just do your job.
Talk your stuff, Dontavian. Talk your stuff. Great wide receivers have terrible attitudes. Go get it, my man. I love Dontavian, right? The dude is always open. Always. He's, you know what? I've heard this a little bit. He's a little bit in his Devontae year 2 season of his career arc, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're at, isn't it?
Here come the comps.
I call him Devontavian all the time for a reason. Love this
High
dude.
Praise.
Love this dude from the draft, and an elite release package from a young player, especially one that isn't. We're not talking about Malik Neighbors or something, right? Somebody who kind of had that pedigree that everyone expected. Dude just gets open, and he's got some concentration drop issues, and he's got to get that stuff together. But so did Devontae, right? So a lot of similarities between the two, but dude's got to clean it up, especially with Watson out. He's going to need to be a huge part of this offense. Huge, because right now, the way we are doing our wide receiver splits, it was kind of broken up into relatively even thirds coming into this game, with Watson playing the majority of the snaps, and then Dobbs and Reed, right? And then Dontavian wasn't playing a ton. He had got a good amount of snaps, but definitely would lag behind the first 3. So really curious what that looks like with a full game load under his belt. This is going to be interesting what that usage really turns into.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity, Dontavian. I think that out of any of the Packers skill position players, he has been the most disappointing so far this season.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So, like you were saying, I mean, Watson is now out. It's going to be you. It's going to be Reed. It's going to be Romeo. Just due to partially the void of snaps, right, from Christian Watson. You got to distribute that, but also with the deficit in speed, right? Because we know Mr. Wicks, not the fastest guy in the world. Jaden Reed, more shifty than fast, but he can still burn you. Who's the burner in the room we got left?
The only one left is Bo
know?
Melton.
Do you know? Because Bo knows.
Oh,
Bo Melton knows. You're right, sir. Exactly. So we got to see him a little bit. I love Jordan's faith in him. Like, since we started using Bo more last season, I remember we got on the field. I'm like, who's this Bo Melton dude? And then Jordan just sends it to him long. Like, he's got full faith in this dude. And Bo usually comes up pretty well. I think he had at least one incompletion deep down the field, or he just couldn't quite haul it in. But I'm always excited to see him out there. He did have one catch for 28 yards. So maybe a little stock up for Bo Melton these next coming weeks with Christian Watson out.
Yeah, he's got to be our deep threat, right? Because between Dobbs and Wicks, you don't truly have an outside receiver who's going to go deep consistently, right? It's going to have to be Melton and Reed through whatever manufacturer touches he gets, which we should probably talk about Reed real quick. Because my man, 7 catches, 139 yards, and a touchdown. Like, dude is insane.
Seam splitter.
And I'm going to say, I'm just going to keep tooting my horn on maybe I should be a scout for wide receivers, but my comp's coming out of the draft for this guy, right? Because he had a catch where he had to go up and get it a little bit, right? If you remember that one. He had to go up and get it. And who did I say he reminded me of because of his ability to play bigger than his body? Do you remember?
Antonio Brown.
I did say that, and we're kind of seeing it. Like, he's the focal point of this offense from the receiver group so far. And I'm always excited when he touches the ball because something good happens every single time. And it's always just fun to watch. When he gets the ball, I'm having a good time.
And especially when we had Malik in, like, all the different ways we put him in, like, the wishbone and in shotgun in the backfield. Like, we've always wanted that jitterbug, and we finally have it in Jaden Reed. I mean, he is Mr. Consistent, I think, so far throughout the season. I would say MVP. I don't think that's much of a reach.
No, completely agree. By far the best offensive player we've had this year.
Oh, yeah. I should have paused there. Offense,
correct.
Because there's that dude.
There's that dude in the back. We're getting there. We're getting there. Tight ends? How do we feel about the tight ends this game?
I know Tucker Kraft had a nice touchdown.
I mean, incredible touchdown, by the way. Incredible.
He had a nice, 6 receptions, 53-yard game, much more snaps than Musgrave, only 3 for 13. But Tucker Kraft, with your tenacity, with you talking about taking people's heads off, bro, like, I can't have you fumble. That was one of those, like, just, we completely shit the bed in every phase of the game. And that was just, like a cherry on top. Like, one of your toughest players who is known for his physicality, running people over. I think his touchdown where he ran over, was it Stephen Gilmore? And then I don't know if it was Ginkle over there too.
Yeah. Incredible.
And then he fumbled. And granted, it was a hell of a peanut punch. I want to say it was Byron Murphy. But you can't see that. And you can't do that, Tucker. And I know that he's going to be beating himself up for that one. We saw it on the sideline. So I expect a bounce back game from him next week. But it felt so uncharacteristic for who he is. It was extremely deflating. I think, honestly, out of all of those, that the Wicks drops, the missed field goals, the laundry list of issues that we had in this game, for me, that was personally the most deflating.
No, I would probably agree. I think given when it happened, I believe we had put up 22 unanswered points at that point. So we're feeling we're there, right? It's like 28-22 or whatever it is.
Defense started making some stops. Like, we had momentum.
We had momentum, and then you're like, okay, maybe I started having some faith again. It's like, maybe we can do this, right? And then all of a sudden, Tucker fumbles the football, and you're like, nope, never mind. I mean, you gave us hope just to take it right away again.
Tucker giveth, and Tucker taketh away.
It was tough, man. It was tough. I don't want to... I think his touchdown still needs to be talked about, though, a little bit, right? Because incredible. We talked last week how he's kind of Kittle Jr., I think, and that's exactly the kind of play I'm looking for. I love that. Love his tenacity. Love his willingness to just fight for every inch. That's going to cost you sometimes. I mean, you see that with running backs a lot, right? The kind of bigger bruisers keep their feet churning. Heck, it's caused a lot of Aaron Jones fumbles in the past, right? Because dude would always fight for more yards. it's going to happen, but it can't happen in that situation, especially at that point. Like, just go out of bounds. Just go out of bounds, given the clock and time management and all that. Just live to play another down.
Yeah. Defense we go.
To defense we go. Yeah, not much to talk about Luke Musgrave besides him thinking the ball was coming to him and it wasn't. So, moving on.
Yeah, not great. One of those interceptions. Definitely Musgrave gets the assist for the Vikings defense. I don't know where that stat is for, what is it, a volleyball? Is that a set, right? Pretty much what he did?
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what it was.
Terrible. Well, on defense, we can start with the good. Obviously, Xavier McKinney, as a young man who's a prophet, once quoted DMX, X is going to give it to you, and there we go. He's done it yet again. 4 straight games, 4 interceptions. Beautiful coverage coming over to the corner of the end zone. I forget if he was covering, was it Naylor or Addison, but comes feelingly out of nowhere.
Yeah. Comes out
And
of
then just
complete center field.
Yep. Picks out of nowhere, gets the toe tap in. I mean, I thought it was out of bounds at first, not going to lie.
I mean, he definitely didn't catch it in bounds. His feet were down in bounds. He definitely didn't catch the football in bounds because he bobbled it like 3 times. But we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it.
I'm gonna take it. So that was good. Other good things on defense. I mean, I guess Isaiah McDuffie being in the spot for the interception was cool, but he needs to catch that.
Yeah, dropping it less cool. Bullard had a nice stop, I think.
He did. Ooh, I got one. Eric Stokes. It's forgotten, right? So remember, the Vikings had like one good drive in the second half. They drive all the way down. They're milking the clock. They're on like our 3-yard line on a 4th and 1, and they try like a jet motion end around. Eric Stokes comes up in the hole to tackle him 1 yard short, and that gave us a chance at the end. It was down. What were we like? Help me out with the score, Lucas, because that was before we scored the last touchdown, which we needed the onside kick, but like it felt like the game was over, especially if the Vikings get that conversion.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. At that point, that could kind of ice the game a little bit there. Stokes had a decent game. I think this was not the game I would have wanted to see a lot of Stokes. Right, obviously we're missing Jair and Valentine. This game probably leans much more towards those 2 strengths, I would say.
Not having Keyshawn on the outside covering Jair, which, to be fair, he should have had an interception on one of the touchdowns because he was all over him, not like gross coverage. But
he had
just
no idea where the ball was.
Turn your freaking head around, my guy, and it's an easy pick. Like, Keyshawn, you have your moments, but before I get off Keyshawn, man, oh man. Bro, I tell you what, I talk about Madden a lot. Lucas, I hate calling delayed blitzes. I hate calling slot blitzes.
They never work. Yeah.
They never work. But that beautiful delayed slot blitz, because by the time Keyshawn breaks coming in from the slot, right, all the linemen are already in their protection.
And Darnold's not looking at all in his direction.
You just need half a second. And the other boys in secondary did just enough to keep him, to hold on to that ball. Keyshawn with a beautiful hit. The acceleration runs right through Darnold. Ball pops out, and there's Edgerrin Cooper. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Welcome to the Packers.
Loved it. Loved that play. Love putting Keyshawn closer to the line of scrimmage and doing some stuff like that with him, because I do think he struggles a little bit the deeper he goes into the defense.
Well, and just on the perimeter, too. I thought that was grossly inappropriate. I cannot say for certain. Right, I only did so much film study on this game. I was doing more so microphone study on how to get this thing working, which we still have difficulties. But like, I don't know if it was a lot of like matchup based, where maybe they had Jefferson in the slot and moved him out wide. But there were a couple times where I'm just like, I know CB got cooked by Addison, but I don't like seeing Keyshawn out wide. I just don't.
Well, I think you start running into like, okay, cool, but then what, right? And Jefferson does play a ton of the slot, so I don't remember how exactly he got matched up on that play, but they motion him all over the place to get beneficial matchups. You have to live with that at some point, especially in this kind of defense. Like if we just play straight up zone all the time, it's not really an issue, right? But we don't. We play a lot of this match man, and you're going to run into this kind of stuff. There's just really no way around it.
Sorry, brother. I expected more zone in this game, though, considering the horses that we had and the horses that they have for this game. I expected much more zone. I mean, we did our best with the boys that we had, and I know that the first half was awful, like the worst first half of Packer football I've ever seen. But second half, we clamped down defensively, and they did not just go run, 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 punt. Like, we had to make some stops, and the boys did.
Yeah, and they threw the ball around a little bit as well. You want to know the one problematic thing? Well, there's more than one problematic, but probably the most problematic issue we have on defense, I think, at the moment. That is regarding pressure, right? Because Keyshawn had a sack. Awesome. Love it. Quay had a sack. Awesome. Love it. We know he's good blitzing, especially up the middle. No one else had one. Nobody. That
Does
front four's got to do more.
Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, do they play for this team?
Man, it's tough to see. So Kenny Clark played and has played the most snaps on defense as far as the front four goes. He plays about 70% of the snaps. We've seen this before with Kenny, where he kind of starts slow and doesn't really do a ton, especially if he's playing a lot. But we're rotating those edge guys a ton this year.
Probably more than they ever have been.
Correct. So you think these boys should be fresh getting after the quarterback on pass downs. And Rashawn Gary has 1 sack in his last 11 games. 1.
That's not right.
How? Right? You just fall into them faster than that as long as you're athletic, right? Nessie's got more than that in that time frame. And it's not because he's a better pass rusher than Rashawn Gary. He's not. He's just there in the general vicinity more frequently.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on there? And like Rashawn Gary did have some nice actually run stops, which is weird for him, especially towards the end of the game. He kind of helped save us from an Aaron Jones touchdown because that would have hurt, man. I mean, Jonesy was talking about doing the Lambeau leap, and I'm so glad we did not give him the opportunity. Love that man. Would be a Packer forever, but I don't need to see that, the Viking horns jumping up doing a Lambeau leap. Don't need to see it. So thank you, Rashawn Gary, for that wonderful setting the edge and getting him down to the ground out there. But yeah, just no pass rush, man. I mean, just no pass rush from those 4 guys, Enikbari, Preston, Rashawn, and Nessie. Like, we just need more from them.
We had, 8 sacks against Tennessee? Was that like all our sacks for the entire season, just in one game? Is that all that we're going to get?
Feels that way. I know
that Enikbari was chasing, what's-his-face, Sam Darnold, and just, like, completely whiffed on a sack?
Yeah.
Like, buddy. And then speaking of defensive line, though, I know we're talking edge rushers, but, like, Lucas, I'm afraid to ask you this question because I haven't come across anything. Do we know the status of Devontae Wyatt? Because if Kenny Clark ain't looking good and he's still being subbed out, like, Devontae Wyatt, and I know bias, I know. Devontae Wyatt, I'm going to say so far this season has been our best defensive lineman, and I don't think that's a hot take.
No, not at all. He leads the team in sacks. He's been our best man in the front four without a doubt. And him being out, and it sounds like he's going to be out. I haven't seen much recently, but probably a couple weeks would be my guess. Then what, right? Kenny, we got Kenny. Cool, great. But Wyatt lines up next to Kenny, so that doesn't help. We got TJ Slayton, but we just haven't played him, really. We got Jonathan Ford on IR designated to return, but if we don't play TJ Slayton, why would we play worse TJ Slayton? Because that's what he is.
Don't even talk about playing Jonathan Ford. He's just been on our practice squad for the last 3 years. He's just a mythical creature.
He's just bad TJ Slayton. And TJ Slayton doesn't even really fit the defense. That's why he's not playing. We don't really use a true nose guard in that run-stuffing nose guard in that sense, which leaves Kobe Wooden, who hasn't even been active every game, and Carl Brooks, who's done nothing. I love Carl Brooks.
Yeah.
But, I mean, remember all those splash plays from last year? He'd be in the game for 10 snaps, and it'd be like, this dude's flying, knocking the ball out of quarterback's hands. Like, where does this guy come from?
He had
nothing.
Sacks. I'm pretty sure he blocked a kick last year,
He
too.
did.
I think against the Rams, the game I was at. Yeah.
He did
I don't
everything.
know, man. I mean,
but he hasn't been anywhere, and we really need him and Kobe Wooden. I mean, they're our only hope at this point to solve the wide hole.
I mean, Kobe Wooden, you're a Packer, state of Wisconsin. Kobe Jack Cheese. Like, bro, we need something here. We need something out of you, Kobe. Because
he wasn't bad last year.
No, he wasn't. I'm surprised. I guess
fine.
it's just with the different roster construction. I'm surprised he's been inactive the entire time this season. But yeah, I thought he was fine. I mean, I know that Carl Brooks had a little more productivity and was the lower draft pick, so it's sexier to talk about him. But the fourth rounder, Mr. Wooden out of Auburn, I thought that he was a solid rotational defensive lineman
Yeah.
who showed flashes.
He was a guy you could put out there and not be embarrassed.
You could put him like next to Kenny and he'd be fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a little smaller frame for D tackle, but not horribly small.
Bigger than Carl Brooks, who played edge rusher in college.
And now when we go 2-4-5, right? I mean, 4-3, whatever, but like 2 defensive tackles and then 2 edge guys.
Yeah.
On late rush downs.
I'd call it a 4-2, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like 3rd and long, who you want in the middle? I mean, TJ Slayton's going to be gassed from rundowns. It's going to be Carl Brooks and Kobe Wooden. So hopefully Mr. Wooden can have a little redemption tour. Hey guys, why'd you keep me on the bench for the first 3 weeks? And again, great moments are born from great opportunities. So Kobe Wooden, are we that desperate that we're praying for you to fix our pass rush when we have
That's not going to happen. Yeah.
multiple first-round picks that are doing diddly poo? And I can't quite come up with a reason why.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised on Nessie, right? He's kind of doing what I expected him to do, honestly. He's still in the phase where he's just going to get hustle sacks. I don't expect him to beat someone off the ball really quickly like Enik Bari did last week.
Oh, God.
That was amazing.
I missed last week. I missed last week a lot.
Me too. But Rashawn, Enik Bari, and Preston, like, guys, we got to get something together here. And maybe as a result, I can imagine us seeing a little bit more linebacker pressures. Quay's phenomenal at it. We know that. He's really good if you blitz him in an A-gap. Cooper with that speed, I think that could be something. I think Wilson might have played himself out of his spot this week. He had a really rough week and was getting picked on a bunch.
Yeah, that was sad to see.
I imagine we start seeing a lot more Coop in. I hope. I really hope. To kind of see what that looks like, and maybe with that we get a little bit more creative pressure. McDuffie's not a guy I want to blitz a ton. Definitely not. But with the athleticism of the other two, Quay and Cooper, like maybe we start getting a little bit more creative with that. And we've seen flashes of it from Hafley's defense. Some, double A gap stuff and all that kind of thing, which is interesting, but we haven't seen a ton of it. He's definitely trying to rely on the front four, but it's not working. So what's next week going to look like? Now we play another beat-up offensive line with a more statuesque quarterback. So
with
hopefully,
none of their top weapons. I mean, at least in the receiving core, they're down their top 2 guys.
correct. We'll get there in just a second, but yeah. So hopefully this will be kind of another get-right game. I mean, are we just going to keep going 8 sacks, 2 sacks, 8 sacks, 2 sacks? Could be. Hopefully not, but yeah, definitely need to see a little bit more out of the defense for sure.
I like the idea of blitzing Quay Walker a lot because he just continues to look lost in zone coverage. I feel like on every screenplay, it's right where he should be, and he just looks slow and indecisive. Like, you see 2 Packers trying to chase down a screenplay, and it's him and Edgerrin Cooper, and Quay Walker looks like he's got cement in his feet. Like, buddy, get your shit together. Like, you're a first-round draft pick. You're a velociraptor, buddy. You're looking like a bronchosaurus. Gonna go eat some plants? Like, my guy, what are you doing?
Love the dino references right now. He has not looked awesome. He's so slow when he thinks. You just need to take the thinking away from him, and blitzing definitely does that, and I think it's when we see him at his best.
Can I do a first on our show? 'Cause
oh boy,
I'm done with defense.
Okay.
But I have another I think and I know, which we were just talking about this last week.
God.
So I'm a little upset that I forgot,
Okay.
And I want to apologize to all Packer Nation because, as we know by now, I'm definitely superstitious. And I did this to us, folks, and I'm sorry. Wasn't it last week on the show that you were asking me who my pallbearer was, and I wasn't really sure?
Yep.
Narv Dog. Narv Dog, you can carry the casket by yourself, my guy. I mean, I know we already talked about this enough, but like that was going to be one of my thinking I knows, and I just completely blanked on it. But yeah, we need to figure something out. You need to figure something out. We need other bodies to compete with you because this is insane. Like, I don't even want to try field goals anymore, Luke. Like, if we're up by like 28 or 30 or something, and it's a real blowout and against the Rams, who knows? It could be. Like, that's a legitimate possibility. I mean, they just lost to the Bears, for Pete's sake. So, like, putting things in context.
True.
I just don't. I just don't want to see Nardog out there, like take that out of the playbook. When the 49ers were down at Christian McCaffrey, quarterback in the playoffs against the Eagles, I think, a couple of years back, you take all the passing plays out of the playbook. Take the field goal formation out of the playbook. I mean, hell, we converted the 2-point conversion with Tucker Kraft too, so why don't we just eliminate point after tries and field goals and just be done with that for the meantime?
I mean, I'm fine with extra points. He hasn't missed one, so we can keep doing those. But we kind of did, right? We had plenty of opportunities to kick a field goal late in that game that ultimately could have made a difference. And we started going for like 4th and 10s and stuff because we clearly lost faith in him. So I don't have a ton of faith in us having faith in him going forward. I think he'll have a very short leash. Maybe trot him out for some short stuff if we keep him, which I think we probably will. I imagine we would have heard something by now, right? It's Tuesday night, late Tuesday night while we're doing this. I imagine we'd have somebody in the building by now if we were going to. So we'll probably keep Narvdog for at least another week. LaFleur sounded like relatively confident in him as much as he could be still, which surprised me in the press conference. But yeah, I guess we'll see going forward. Don't kick a lot of field goals, guys.
Can't believe I'm saying this. What do you think the Silver Fox is doing these days? Do you think he's busy?
No.
Think he wants to, come help the Packers win another Super Bowl? What do you think?
I mean, all we need him for is like 45 and in.
It's not asking the world.
No.
It's really not. And we have not. Have we asked Narveson to kick over 50 once?
Nope, not a single time.
And he is what?
I don't even want to look. I don't want to look.
5 of 10? Something like that?
Don't want to look.
5 of 8?
Probably something.
5
like
of...
that. He's missed
what?
one every game, 2 in this one. So
this is a math show, folks, but I promise you the percent is not good.
That's
it's
5
not.
misses. That's 5 misses. Yeah, not great. Not great, my guy.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks, Narv Dog. Not even Narv Puppy. What do we even call him now? Just Narv?
He gets the full name. He's Narveson. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's like when your mother calls you by your first and middle name, like bad things. You're
what's his name? Braden
Narveson.
All right.
That's tough. Braden.
I might keep it like to Braden, but yeah.
Braden. That's a tough one.
Nicknames are gone.
Yep. You have to earn the nicknames here on this show.
You want to talk a little Rams? I mean, I don't know what else.
First, we can't skip the only bright spot of special teams. Well, there's kind of two. One actually wasn't a bright spot, but both by the same guy. Daniel Whelan averaged 60 yards a punt with a long of 74. We can't skip that. God. Like, I know that we were surrounded by folks that are currently worshiping what they believe to be the punt god here south of the Cheddar Curtain, right? With their beloved former Iowa punter, right, in Taylor.
Hawks up.
But they have some competition. Daniel Whalen, like I said, averaged 60 yards kick with the longest 74. My guy, right? And he got us 7 points, right, by the dude pulling like an Amari Rodgers trying to catch the ball over his head. Never do that, by the way. Never catch a punt above your head.
Who caught it?
Who caught it, Devin?
Bo Melton, because Bo knows, folks.
He did.
Bo knows.
So, and then the flip side of that is we did a drop kick for the onsides. That was weird. Did not even come close to working. I don't care. Onside kicks don't work anymore. It doesn't really matter. But doing a drop kick is kind of a fun twist.
I hate with this new rule that the onside kick has to be announced.
Obviously, we were going to do it anyways, but
there's nothing more than I love like a third quarter onside kick.
Yeah, the once every 3 years someone does it.
It's amazing. Or like just like the Dan Campbell of it all. Like Dan Campbell, Mike McDonald. Like we got some real character coaches in the NFL that I would totally see an increase based on just the current NFL coaching roster.
Especially Dan Campbell.
Kicks.
Yeah, especially Dan Campbell.
I mean, the new like kickoff is fine, but where I take issue is at the fact that you have to declare onside kicks because that just sucks. And obviously, in that situation, it was very obvious what we were going to do. I did like that it was Daniel Whalen, not Narv Dog. Remember when I texted you guys? I was like, oh, it's Whalen. We got it. Like, guaranteed.
I had way too much faith in it, especially when I saw we were drop kicking. I'm like, we're in for a treat, boys. Something weird's about to happen. And then the most boring onside kick ever happened. But to be fair, the guy who received it didn't catch it clean. I mean, it didn't matter, but he kind of dropped it. So I'll take that as a small victory for our drop kicking punter.
All right, here's a big question for you.
Okay,
All right, take a sip of your drink while you think about this one.
will do.
Is Daniel Whalen the best number 19 of all time to you?
Man, Miles White is really
Oh, God. I was thinking like EQ, right? Wasn't EQ 19?
yeah, he was. 19.
By the way, is
19.
EQ still in the league?
I don't know. He's still on the podcast with his brother, but that's all I got.
I enjoy that. It's a good show.
I don't know. Yeah, well, he's my favorite now. I'm gonna have to look this up. We'll have to get back to you to see some other 19s in Packer history here. This is gonna be interesting.
I mean, you can even like open up to the entire league. I'm okay with that because 19 just feels like one of the most underutilized jerseys.
Well, yeah, because quarterbacks don't really go to 19, right? They mostly kind of stop with 18, so that's gonna be a tough one. Not a lot of wide
Like if
receivers wearing 19. Yeah,
If you're a quarterback wearing 19, you're like in the 70s with a full cage helmet. Like that's where you're at, buddy.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. To the Rams?
To the Rams. Well, the Rams, their two darling wide receivers, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, are both out and will not be back for this week. And at least Cooper Kupp for sure. I don't think Nacua's coming back anytime soon.
No, he's gone for a while, it seems like. They didn't put him on IR, but that's mostly because they have too many people on IR. They didn't want to put another one on.
So the Rams, coming off a loss to the Bears, 24-18 this past Sunday. However, they did upset San Francisco 24-27 the week before. But I mean, they're trotting now. You got Kyron Williams, the running back, who broke out last year. He almost had 100 yards against the Bears. Nice game for him. But a receiver, you got the meme himself, Tutu Atwell, who's like 5'5" on a good day. You know, his name's Tutu. 4 for 82.
Little speed
Jordan Whittington.
Rookie out of Texas, sixth round pick. Yeah.
Are they the Patriots now, just throwing out white receivers? Like, I know they traded away Ben Skoranek.
He's not white.
Isn't he?
No, he's not white.
I thought he was.
No.
You sure?
I'm positive.
I looked up a picture of him.
Jordan Whittington is not white.
My apologies. Also, R.I.P. to playing Ben Skoranek.
He may have dreads.
So?
Could be white. Haven't seen that yet in the NFL.
We've seen white people with dreads. It happens, Lucas.
In the NFL?
You know what, sir? My bad in 03. Creative player.
Okay,
Packer running back for the Packers. Devin Hine.
Big miss by us on number 19. Little Johnny Unitas. So, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Sorry, Johnny. I guess we're kind of divided on how important you are, my guy.
Apparently. Mean nothing to us.
Not at all. But back to the Rams. So Jordan Whittington, my bad. And then DeMarcus Robinson, Colby Parkinson as receiver 3 and 4 in this game. The cupboard's pretty bare offensively, except for Kyron Williams. It is Sean McVay, who is very creative, but Matt LaFleur's had his number. I believe that we're 4-0 against the Rams, including the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So not trying to feel a trap game, but this definitely feels like it should be a good get-right game for us. Hopefully get the defense and the pass rush rolling a little bit. Get Josh Jacobs in the ground going as well. Things will open up in the passing game. It'll play action. Hopefully Dontavian Wicks catches the ball. They do have some nice pieces on the defensive front. They drafted Braden Fisk out of Florida State to help replace Aaron Donald. They do have Kobe Turner, so nice defensive tackles.
They also drafted Jared Verse out of Florida State, edge rusher. Mm-hmm. So kind of double dip there. Florida State, both very, very athletic guys. I remember Jared Verse coming out, watching him at the combine. Stiff. Tall, strong, and fast, but pretty stiff. Doesn't really have that kind of edge bend, but you can still do some work with that. And Braden Fisk, athletic freak from the inside, interior.
Yeah, he was like the number 1 D tackle in like 3 different combine attributes, which is the first time that's like happened in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man's a monster. So we'll see. Any other thoughts on the Rams, Lucas?
I do. This could be the most interesting quarterback room in the league.
Ooh.
We got Matty Stafford, right? Gunslinger. Love it. Do you know who second and third string are?
Can you give me hints?
Local kid. Come on, man. Local to us.
Scott Tolzien? Jimmy
No.
Garoppolo?
There you
No.
go. Jimmy G.
Jimmy G's on the Rams?
He's the backup.
When did that happen?
Good question. I completely forgot that it happened until I just read this. And then third string took a year off. Got drafted at the ripe old age of like 29 or something. Not actually. Stetson Bennett.
Oh, God. Stetson Bennett.
That's an interesting quarterback group. That's for sure. Interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. That's super weird. You got no development there going forward.
Absolutely none. Because Stetson Bennett's like almost our age, even though he was in college like a year and a half ago. Dude went on Good Morning America, just drunk off his butt the next day after the championship game for Georgia that year, which was hilarious to watch. Yeah, hilarious to watch. We got Jimmy G, best looking guy in the NFL, just rolling in money for not a lot, not doing a lot there. So fun little room there. I enjoy that. Also, we got Tyler Johnson, who has always been a favorite of mine as a backup wide receiver. Not really doing a ton there either. I believe he went to Minnesota. Really thought he was. I was
going to say Minnesota kid, right?
Yeah.
Big frame.
Yeah, I thought he was going to break out and just never got there. Unfortunately, a lot of injuries on their offensive line, so it's really going to be the area we have to focus in on. And also, Davis Allen is their third string tight end. I believe he had a cup of coffee with the Packers as well. Kid out of Clemson.
I don't recognize the name. Sorry, buddy.
Kid out of Clemson. He was like our fourth string tight end, I think, last year in camp.
Yeah, no bells for me.
Yeah, so we got some interesting guys in the safety room as well. Cameron Curl came over from the Commanders. That's a pretty high quality safety. That Quentin Lake back there, not terrible. Cameron Kinchins from Miami.
Isn't he slow as shit?
Yeah, he's the dude where everyone thought he was the top safety in the draft, and then he ran like almost a 4.7. And it was like, never mind. And he's not very big. He's small too. So interesting. And we got the corpse of Tre'Davious White out there.
Oh my God, that's right. That's where Trey White went, dude. In Buffalo, like we're not even missing him. It's just like whatever, which is so sad because he was so good.
He was so good.
I feel like no one cared when the Rams signed him, and this was a dude who was all approached a few years ago.
Yeah, crazy. His kind of fall off. I think partially due to injuries, and then we also got the weirdness where they have their punt returner and kick returner being their first and second string running backs respectively. So they have listed Kyron Williams being their starting punt returner. He happens to be their dynamic running back. And they have Blake Corum, who's the backup out of Michigan, and he is their kick returner, which that's weird, but good for them.
It's their best two offensive weapons, and at this point, like it's all gas, no brakes for them too, man. I mean, they're trying to win games. They're a team in the NFL. Their best receivers are out, and the depth there is pretty thin. So I guess get your playmakers the ball however you can. Can you just imagine being a Rams fan if Kyron Williams gets hurt?
I mean, you're
Blake
done.
Corum might be fun, but like
Blake Corum would be fun, yeah. But otherwise,
yikes.
you're done. Yeah, you got nothing left.
Yeah, you're screwed.
All right, so predictions.
Ooh. Are we there? Or are we here?
We are here.
We're at Lambeau again?
Yeah, I believe so.
31-13.
Ooh, I like it.
Angry.
Oh, just kidding. At Rams. My bad.
34-13.
I like it. Let's go a nice, cool 28-17 us. 28-17 us.
All right, we go with our super specific predictions.
Absolutely, we are.
Colby Wooden, half a sack.
Half a sack. Okay. Tyron Hopper sees the field on defense.
That would make my day, bro. I love Tyron Hopper.
I kind of hope it doesn't happen because realistically, it's would probably be due to injury, but I want it to happen. I'm gonna will it into existence.
No. If we're going with my prediction, we're blowing him out. Hopper could easily see the field.
Okay, I like that. I'm good with that.
I just hope that we can get a win with Jordan Love. So as much as like I love the Malik shit talk, like let's put an end to that. Let's get back to our winning ways.
There we go.
Let's get back to love. Let's get back to who we are. Dontavian, catch the frickin' ball. Tucker Kraft, run over people's faces. Pass rush. Somebody do something. And let's remember who we are. The goddamn Green Bay Packers.
Somebody do something. It's probably the title for this episode, by the way.
And don't put Narvison out there, for the love of God.
It's in
I'm
a
good,
dome.
fam.
Maybe we'll be fine in a dome. Who knows?
I don't know, brother. I don't know. But until next time, folks,
Go Pack Go.
go Pack Go.